Hello. Let us back our hoops. I just realized that I forgot to grab my 8-inch hoop. I am not going to finish in this blue hoop. Hold, please. One moment. Oh, just kidding. I have it right here. I did get it. I was just under stuff. Okay. So there is lots of different ways to back an embroidery hoop. This is my way because I don't have to get any extra things. I don't have to get glue, nothing like that. Hang on, I gotta get a screwdriver. I like that I have everything that I need from stitching. I don't have to get out a glue gun or an iron or anything like that. So if you don't like to finish this way, there is lots of other options out there for you. So I would encourage you to find something that makes you happy. Okay, so you can either use a fabric to back this, or you can just leave it open so that you can see like the hoop guts or whatever you want to call it. I like to cover this up. I know plenty of people that don't. They want to be able to see all the work that went into it. So yeah, if you don't want to put a backing fabric on it, you don't have to. But I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is cut a piece of fabric to back with. I just have this whole box full of like random fabrics, and I thought that this was so perfect for our haunted house. I don't get too crazy or exact. I just put this in the corner and trim around it, and then it's the right size. Hang on. Okay. So there is our backing fabric. It fits our hoop. Now, most of the time, a lot of people will stitch in the hoop that they're finishing in. So you might skip this step. I'm just going to take this out of my plastic hoop. We're going to move it over to a beechwood hoop to finish it. All right, so the layers are going to be inner hoop on the bottom, and then the backing fabric, and then the project, and then the outer hoop. Now, if you are not using a backing fabric, then you'll just have your inner hoop, your project, your outer hoop. Make sure you've cleared off all of your lines. So if you use something heat erasable, you can use a blow dryer or an iron to remove them. If you use something water soluble, then wash that away, let it dry completely before backing it. I used that carbon pencil and chalk, so I've just been kind of slowly like rubbing at the spots that I can see kind of got, I still see lines, but anyways, once your lines are gone, we're going to get this in the hoop. So right now I can see where my hoop was because it was in there pretty tight. So I don't iron that. That's just my guide for where I'm going to put my hoop. Make sure you're centered. I gotta open this a little bit further. So center it. Make sure that your hardware is centered and at the top. And That's in there. Okay, so the first thing I do is pull the backing fabric tight. You can do it at the same time, but I feel like it's easier to do them one at a time. So I'm gonna do the backing fabric first, and it's not gonna be perfect. I'm just gonna go around it one time and make sure that this is all pulled pretty snug, and then I can start working on the front. So right now, I'm a little bit closer over here than over here. So I'm gonna pull this side first and see if I can get it centered a little bit better just by pulling it first. Most of the time I can. That's a little bit better. It's not great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit and then pull it over and then pull that side again. Okay, that's better. Now, my hoop is still fairly loose, so I do this a few different times. I'll tighten it, and then I'll pull my fabric tight, just like we did before when we were putting our fabric in the hoop for the first time before we transferred our pattern. We want this to be drum tight. Whoops. We want this to be drum tight so that it looks nice and polished in our hoop so we can display it. See, like right here, I've got a little bit of puckering. Whoop. So we're gonna pull that tight. And as you're pulling your fabric tight, this inner or the outer hoop will start to like lift up a little bit. So make sure you're pushing that down as you go around. And then once it's pretty tight, then I'll go with my screwdriver or pliers and tighten this. And then I'll go one more time around and just make sure everything is nice and snug. Okay, that's it. Now I'm just gonna tighten this one more time, just because I like to make sure that my fabric is not gonna slip. Okay. That's in there. Now what we're gonna do is cut our fabric back here. So since I have this fabric, I stitched through 2 layers. So I'm gonna cut both of these, the backing fabric and this liner fabric, down to the hoop. So this is the scariest part, is making sure that you don't cut your project fabric. So I usually just like push this out of the way and work my way around. That white one was already pretty short. Just be careful, like right there, I almost cut that project fabric, so go a little slower if you need to. All right, and then I'm gonna leave about 1 inch of fabric all the way around this. So it doesn't need to be perfect. And make sure that your work surface is clean, or else you might end up with spots of whatever is on your work surface. Almost there. 8-inch hoops are big. But this works for any hoop size. This is how I finish my 3-inch hoops, my 4-inch hoops, all size hoops. Now that that is done, we're gonna do a running stitch to tie this closed. So then when it's closed, will have just that backing fabric and then a cute liner on the inside. I usually just use one of my threads from the project that matches the backing fabric. Not that anyone's gonna see the backing fabric, but I still like it to match. Okay, so I'm gonna use some of the DMC 16 or 12, I mean. So what I do is before I cut it, I just kind of set it around the outside of my hoop and make sure that it'll go all the way around. And then thread my needle. And then I leave a little bit of a tail that I can, because we're gonna pull this closed after we do our running stitch. So I just do a knot about there. And then start at the top in the middle. And we're just gonna do an up, down, not too far apart, not too close together. I like to do it about 2/3 of the way from the hoop. So if we're too far to the middle, then we have a lot of like weird extra fabric. But if we're too far to the edge, then it feels like it's gonna rip the fabric. So I go about 2/3 of the way between the hoop to the edge. And you can do just like one at a time. You can go up and pull it and then down and pull it. But I've found it's pretty easy to just do like an up, down and then pull it. Or you can even do that a few times depending on how long your needle is. I've just gotten in the habit of doing up, down once and then pulling it. And then we'll pull it closed at the end. So not super exciting, but I think it ends up looking like nice and polished without having to glue things. I also worry about doing like a permanent closure. I don't know. Like, what if it gets dirty and I need to wash it? Or what if I see something that really bugs me and I want to fix a stitch? Then this is really easy to just cut out and redo. So anyways, that is my thought process on backing. Whoop. This one was a little bit of a shorter piece. Usually I have plenty of extra, but I cut this a little shorter than I normally would, which is fine. It'll go around. It's just not quite as long as I'm used to. Okay. Whoops. I have to do one more. Hold on. All right, so we're gonna go up and then I'm gonna go down right next to where I went up the first time. So these are really close together. Okay, so let me take our needle off and then we're just gonna pull these two strings. This one's longer already, so I usually start with the shorter one so that I have some thread to tie with. That was a little bit too much. Okay. And then I just do a double knot. Hold on, these are all twisted together. So we're gonna tie, and then sometimes I have my kids hold this, but I've gotten really used to doing it on my own, so I can do a double knot without having somebody else hold my thread. Maybe not on camera, of course. Okay. Oh, always use 6 strands or more. If you use like 4 strands, you'll probably break it when you're like pulling this tight. So once that is double knotted, cut it. That's it. That's the back. Look how cute it is. Now, if these were a little bit more even, it might look slightly better, but I think it's pretty good. This one's a little bit short, but that's the back. And then your front is all done. It's very cute. I also sometimes get like one of those sticky, like the dog hair remover things. You know what I'm talking about? Like the rollers. and like go over it and just get off like any, like there's like little fuzzies and stuff. But anyways, that's it. It's all done. That is it for me, friends. So let me see your hoops once they're finished, and please let me know if you have any questions about finishing the back of your hoop, and I would be happy to help you. I'll see you next time. Bye.